And welcome back, our dear viewers, continuing our special coverage for the current visit by the Italian Foreign Minister to Egypt. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumi, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you.
Sir, how do you weigh the timing and the importance of the current visit by the Italian Foreign Minister to Egypt?
Very important to our consultation with our friends all over the world, especially in two dimensions, the Arab dimension and the Mediterranean dimension. And as of Italy, it is one of the three very old civilizations of the Mediterranean, the Egyptian, the Greek, and the Roman Empire.
Indeed.
And I'm proud always to remind my audience that we have the history of our grandmother Cleopatra and Mark Antony, where Alexandria was the city, the largest and the most strong city in the international policies. Recently, we have renewed this relation by a very important agreement between Egypt and the European Union, including, of course, Italy. And I must say that they helped us during the negotiations very much. I visited Italy several times. They came to us to help us during the negotiations. So if you go to a city like Alexandria, you will see that thousands of places are Italian. Streets are named after Italian names. Even in Cairo, you can see this.
Yes.
I lived in Alexandria during the 50s, during my studies in Alexandria University, and there were tens of thousands of Italians still living in Egypt, or Egyptian from Italian origin, or vice versa. So, and now with this agreement, we have an open country for us, for our merchandise, for our services, and more and above all of this, that we have a very important community of Egyptians living in Italy. They are adding to the Italian economy by their activities. They are adding to the Egyptian economy by their transfers to their families. And now we want to deepen this relation. And of course, in negotiations or consultations like that, whether with our president or with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sameh Shukri, without knowing any secrets, it is including everything it comes to your mind or my mind. Internationally, we are worried about the impact of the Ukrainian war, whether for the food security or the energy or the transport. Before that, of course, we have all of us, we fight against the corona epidemic. Now we have aiming at solving many problems around us. The Italian minister mentioned Libya. Libya is very important for Italy and Egypt. We have a big community of Egyptians living in Libya. We have millions of Libyans living here without considering them illegal migration. And also what is happening in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, in Sudan or Somalia. All these countries need, of course, a good hand, a good help from countries in the size and the weight of Egypt and Italy. Then we come to the bilateral level, and we hope that we can attract more and more of Italian investment. Because I lived part of my life in Alexandria, I know that one of the very important sort of education, the Don Bosco School for industrial education, we want to double this model. We want to attract more Italian investment to Egypt, especially to the Suez Canal zone, which is really very attractive. So the sky is the limit there, and we can see that from day to day we shall continue these efforts in order to coordinate our relations and we coordinate our position concerning all the challenges of the world and all the opportunities also, because they're also the positive part of our relations.
Yes. Since you have been talking, sir, about the investment, the Italian investment in Egypt and the mutual cooperation regarding the economic file, how to see here the cooperation regarding the issue of energy between both countries, and what do you expect more to witness in the future regarding this very important file?
Very important, and we are lucky. Of course, we are clever people, I must stress. We are clever people, but we are also lucky that God is blessing this country, which is mentioned several times in the Quran. Because discoveries of oil or discoveries of gas, it's not only your efforts, it's also a gift of God. So I am happy to see that the European Union and Italy started to concern Egypt as a main partner for supply of power, whether it is electric power, whether it is gas or oil. And this has also a huge future, and thank God and to our Italian partners that the big Italian companies who discover many discoveries in our seashore, whether as oil or gas. So this is another file which we have to see positively in the future.
Indeed. Ambassador Bayoumi, also utilizing the resources in the East Mediterranean was discussed during the talks. What resources here can be employed in this regard?
Many, but mainly I am talking about energy, because now we are establishing a line, electric line, to join the Egyptian electric net and the European one through Cyprus and Greece. Another thing is the gas. We are importing gas and exporting liquid gas. This is another huge chemical industry which we have the opportunity to enlarge it. Why don't we talk about fishery? Because of course we have partners in Europe who we can make benefit of their experience in the fishery industry also. And we have to learn how to go out of our seashore in order to get the fish from the deep sea, not from the seashore only. Many dimensions of the investment, but I hope that Italy shall consider to establish industries in the Suez Canal zone in order to be in the middle of everywhere in the world.
Sir, how has the war in Ukraine impacted the food security in the Mediterranean from your point of view?
It has affected us, and we were worried, as a matter of fact. As you know me, I am a sort of optimistic man. Because, as a matter of fact, concerning the wheat and cereals, there is a surplus in the whole world, but we were depending on Russia and Ukraine. And then when the war was declared, of course, in the short run, we were immediately affected. But we are getting wheat from Germany, from France, from United States. I remember during President Nasser time, we were our main supplier of wheat. It was the United States of America. So it was a sort of a problem, but very short period. The other problem, it is positive to us because the lack of energy, because of this war, it will expand the demand on our energy, whether from Egypt or the Arab producers of many sources of energy.
So how, from your point of view, Mr. Ambassador, can cooperation among the different Mediterranean countries help in decreasing the effects of the food insecurity on this region?
Thank God also that we are lucky here, because concerning the food security, we are cooperating. We are not, challenging each other. Egypt is supplying Europe, and we became the largest supplier of vegetables and fruits, of dates, of oranges and citrus during the winter time. And in the winter time, Europe is not planting anything because of the cold weather. So we are gaining many areas there, and we became really a good partner to Europe in the field of food.
Yes.
Same time, we are importing still. We are importing a good portion of our wheat. We depend still on the other side of the Mediterranean. I hope this will take place sometime to come in order to produce much more of our needs of this wheat in our country.
Yes. Sir, also one of the topics that were discussed today is the Palestinian issue and the two-state solution, which was high on the agenda of the talks. How would Italy's support of the two-state solution impact the Palestinian file from your point of view?
This is very important file, and it became a little bit dangerous.
Indeed.
I am optimistic by nature, but here I'm not. We have now a new government in Israel, which we have never seen a government like that. Because Netanyahu, we know him, we dealt with him several times before. But now, because of the problems of the elections, he started to make alliances with far-right parties, which are not ready to consider the Palestinian question at all, or the right of the Palestinians. While we have the agreement of Oslo since Yasser Arafat and Rabin. And this agreement recognized the right of establishing a Palestinian state in the border of 1967.
Yes.
Now we have some people in Israel, even some ministers who are challenging this, and they are really provoking the peace process by going and try to impose themselves on Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is something sacred in the whole Islamic world.
Yes.
Here you are provoking 1,400 million inhabitants for this. And but on the other side, according to my experience, if I close my eyes for the next 20 years even, what is the future of Israel while they are establishing day after another enemies, even within their own land? They have 7 million Arabs living in Israel, and in the coming 20 years, they will exceed the number of the Israelis in Palestine and Israel.
Yes.
So what future is this? What future by occupying a part of Syria? And as you will know, that Syria has the second largest Arab army. What future with making enemies in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Egypt, in Palestine? This is not a future at all. Indeed. That's why you may realize that even a large part of the Jewish community in Europe and in the United States are not with this attitude of the recent government of Israel, and they advise them. Even the President Biden of the United States, when he came to visit us in the Saudi Arabia, he declared the two-state solution as the only way to settle this problem. So I all my heart with our brothers in Palestine, but at the same time, it's a matter of who can have the patience to see what will happen in the coming 10 or 20 years.
Yes. Finally, sir, the talks also discuss the illegal immigration file. How do you see the development in this regard?
This is very important also because this is one file we have to study it carefully.
Yes.
Of course, Europe is against illegal migration, not because they don't want migrants. No, most of the European countries in the size of Germany, or Italy, France, or Greece, they are diminishing. The death rate is bigger than the birth rate. So they are welcoming migration and migrants. But legally, because those who are migrate illegally, they drop in the organized crime immediately. Here, Italy is giving us a very good opportunity by granting Egypt 6,000 visas for those who are ready to go first, to train themselves as in the building industry, in the engineering, in the carpenting, all the necessary sort of migrants which Italy is in need. Greece did the same. So I think we have to use our mass media in order to acknowledge our young people who are aiming to cross the sea and to go to Europe, that there is a legal ways to do it. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy mentioned that Egypt is doing a very fine job concerning this matter.
Indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for your very precious input. Always a pleasure to listen to your precious input, sir. And with that, we come to the end of this very special edition of our program, Africa Today, where we have been discussing the current visit by Italy's Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Antonio Tajani. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Hessi Rabia signing off.